Hi, this is Curt and welcome to another edition of Fire Law Roundup.
Let's go to Minnesota. This also is interesting. The head note, my head note on this is don't piss off a judge. Although this may be intentional. So here's what happened. So a Minnesota judge is holding the city of Orono to be in contempt.
Orono.
Okay.
Orono.
Oh, okay. And to be in contempt of court. And because they're violating a judge's order, and the order basically says, and I'll explain why there's an order. The order basically says, stop forming a new fire department, right? You can't stop soliciting new members, stop soliciting employees, stop building stations, stop adding on to stations, stop buying fire trucks, stop competing, which is a strange one I'll talk about in a minute. But so what happened is we have two cities and another city, actually, I guess three, are all parties to a fire protection agreement where Long Lake Fire Department provides services to those three cities or communities. And the agreement, which is amazing, goes back to 2002, but continues until 2025. And basically, the city decided they want to create their own fire department. So they start taking action in 22, including hiring a former fire chief from Long Lake, including purchasing a ladder truck, including recruiting. This is the big one, the Long Lake personnel, both former and present personnel, trying to get them to jump ship. And so there's a breach of contract action here, right? And I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. But in any event, so Long Lake wants what's called injunctive relief. They want the court not to issue money damages at this point, but to say, stop it. Just stop doing any or allowing anything to happen that can harm us. So the judge did. The judge says, okay, you're enjoined. You're told to stop, and you cannot do certain things. And yet they have now discovered that somebody is recruiting, the fire chief, I think, is recruiting former and present Long Lake Fire Department members via text message or whatever. So they're fined, but now the fine is $2,000 per violation.
That's going forward. That's going forward.
And the question is, what is a violation, right? Is it every text message you send? Is it every time I recruited 10 employees? Is that one violation or 10? I haven't looked at the order specifically and seen how they did it, but maybe this is calculated to say that, we'll rather pay the $2,000 or $10,000 or whatever fine, but we're going ahead with this. Maybe this is a calculated risk, or whatever. They know they're getting in trouble. I will share my own personal opinion that other than trying to steal someone's employees, which I still don't think it's not illegal to do that. It may be interference with a contract, but it's not necessarily, because if you said, we're going to start it on January 1st of 26, will you come work for us then? We're just trying to solicit information, et cetera. I don't think that's breach of contract.
Yeah,
unless
and I
there's
think
something.
No, and there are some factual questions in there that I think are legitimate. Like the fire department said, look, you issued this order, I think it was on July 14th. These 5 members, we had already expressed an interest. So all we were doing was letting them know that we were having this open house, right, and nothing more. We were just informing them, but we weren't soliciting them. They had already expressed an interest. So there's some factual questions in there that I think have to be addressed. But at any rate, the judge did find them in contempt. And so now there's going to be another hearing, and she didn't set a date, but she set parameters on the date, which is going to be where she presumably lowers the financial boom on the municipality for violating her order.
Now, here is my 2 cents on this. I'm not sure that it's actually breach of contract, but I should say, look, I haven't read the contract, but in the contract, it may say
that's a separate issue.
Not necessarily. That's why I'm bringing it up.
You have a court order, so whether.
But what happens often is, look, they'll appeal the contempt. This goes on. The reason I think it was a bad idea for them to violate the court order is in some states, I don't know in this state, in some states, if you violated a court order, which is then deemed to be overturned because look, that you weren't breaching the contract, so the injunction itself would go away, right? What you're doing, however, I know in some states they say it doesn't matter. I gave you an order, even if the order is deemed invalid or unnecessary
you appeal
later.
it and file a motion to quash, but you don't just ignore the court's order.
Right. But the reason it's not a good idea, forget the money, is you're pissing off the judge and you're backing the judge into a corner so that they're going to find, listen, this was breach of contract. My order, my injunction was enforceable. You should not have violated it because you pissed me off. And now, right now you lose on top of, I don't like upsetting judges if I don't have to, right? It's not a good move. Don't make anything personal. And you violate their order, you're making it personal. You were saying to the judge, I don't respect you. Bad idea. Right. So I would have done this if I was them for so many reasons. And I would be going back to the court with hat in hand saying, yeah, we're going to fire this guy, or we've reprimanded him, or whatever. Not going to happen again, Judge.
Well, I'm not sure it was the chief. I'm thinking it's the mayor. I'm thinking the mayor seems headstrong over creating his own fire department.
That would be problematic. If it's the mayor and there's no one to blame, you got a problem.
I don't think it's, I can't imagine, it's a former fire chief doing this. And it seems like there's some sort of a political reason for this all happening. So,
of course,
but who knows? Who knows? Right.